3, 2, 1.
Good day everyone, GarageKing here, and today we are going to do a review on the Innova CarScan Pro. This is model number 5610. It is an OBD1 and OBD2 scanner. Now this one has enhanced live data, which is really good for automatic transmission, ABS, SRS, and TPMS. And it is bi-directional. Now, one of the things I just mentioned is OBD1. Most scanners do not do OBD1, and this one will do Ford, GM, Chrysler, Toyota, and Honda. Now, this is what it looks like out of the box. Now, it does take 3 AA batteries, and the reason you're probably wondering why does it take batteries? Well, firstly, if you're using OBD1, OBD1 does not have power in your car like OBD2 does, so you have to have a way to power it. So that would be the batteries. And as you'll see later in the video, it does light up for ease before you plug it in. So it's gonna get that power from the batteries. Now, anyway, let's move on here. You can see I downloaded the app. I created an account. It is quite simple to use. There you can see I'm entering my password. And once we link it all together, because it will link with the scanner, you can get an abundance of information from this app. And I think this app is kind of what really helps make the scanner what it is, because it really gives you a lot of information, as we're gonna see. And we're going to do some demos, and we'll diagnose a newer vehicle, a Honda Civic. We'll try scanning that, as well as a surprise. We're going to do a classic 80s vehicle as well. Here you can see I do have it powered on. It's not plugged into the car. There's the main menu. You can see there's tool settings. There's our brightness, tone, live data description, language settings, and much, much more. So I did find it quite easy to use. And one of the things that I did like is the diagnostic trouble code library. And the diagnostic trouble code library includes both OBD1 and OBD2. So you can look up codes for newer vehicles, that's past 1996, or older vehicles that use the OBD1. So for example, here I'm going into OBD1, and these are the 5 manufacturers that it covers. So for example, here I'm putting in GM. I'm just gonna make up a code here. Let's try, I think it's code 15, and that would be coolant temperature sensor or circuit high. In addition, if you're unsure where to find the connector, it'll tell you where to find it. So let's try it in real life. Here we have it plugged into this Honda. You can see the end of the connector is glowing, which really helps us find our plug, especially if you're working in the dark. And now for this test, we're just gonna skip this. I've already downloaded the Repair Solutions app so we can see what it says later, but for now, let's just see what the scanner will read. So we can see we have no powertrain diagnostic trouble codes, and here's the different modules we can go in. So ABS, SRS, TPMS. It's asking me if this is the correct vehicle. Yes, it is. I've sped this up, and if you're wondering just how fast we're speeding it up, we're at 4 times. So the scanner is relatively quick, but at the same time, I don't want to take forever and bore you with this video. That is what the buttons look like up close. If you're wondering what the scanner buttons look like, it is a very, very simple scanner to use. Now, if you're wondering here, we're doing sort of a total test on everything, and it's going through all the modules in the car, and this is sped up at 8 times. So the actual time to do this full test was about 1 minute if you are curious. I found the middle buttons were the ones that I use the most, and that was just to go up and down and hit enter. Now, if we look through here, we can see we do in fact have one DTC, but it's not in the powertrain control module as we first scan. This one's the body weight sensor. So if we go here and just try to read what it is, and the scanner tells us that it is the ODS unit, there's a problem with it. Now, I think this is an intermittent problem because when I scanned it with one of my other scanners, it was reading. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna erase it and see if the code erases and it comes back, and that would show that it was an intermittent. So it says erase was successful, and now it says no weights sensor DTCs are presently stored. So my guess is it's just one of those intermittent things that we can clear and hope it's just a temporary glitch. So here we're gonna do an alternator test. Now, alternator test, you have to meet certain parameters. Usually the engine has to be run between certain RPMs, and here it is, yes, between 2,000 and 3,500 RPM, and that's so we can load the alternator and get a proper reading. Now, keep in mind, this vehicle has not been run for quite some time, so I wouldn't be surprised if, yes, there you go, you can see the voltage is high, and the reason is the battery is very low, so the alternator is going to produce a much higher voltage. Now, here on the ABS live data, we're in the computer. One of the things that I really want to see for diagnosing that I use all the time is if we can get our wheel speed sensors. To me, that's most important because that's usually what fails, and there, yes, you can see there's our wheel speed sensor, so that's live data. So if you have an ABS problem, you can drive around and then you can see if you know one of your wheel speed sensors are out, and usually that's the harness. The scanner, as we can see here, is capable of 4 powertrain active tests, with the EVAP one being, to me, the most important because that's the one that is the most common. So now I'm into the live data and I just want to see exactly what I can read and how fast. So there you can see there's all the sensors coming up. If we wait for a second, they will populate. And you can see on this vehicle in particular, we're on number 12 of 142. And for those that are curious, it does read OEM enhanced DTCs. So we can see in this Honda here, we have no OEM enhanced DTCs. Now going back to the alternator, we can actually go to live data. We can see it's operating at almost 40%. And as I mentioned earlier, that is most likely just because of the low battery. Now here's one function that really got me, and that's the oil reset. Normally on these Hondas, you cannot do it remotely. And here I'm doing it remotely and it says it's working. So I wanted to check here, and yes, you can see it's 100%. Normally the other scanners just can't do it, and you have to use the trip or odometer functions to reset the oil in these Hondas. So I was actually quite impressed that the scanner was able to do it. And here you can see I'm showing you just how bright this OBD2 port is. So you won't have any problems finding the connector, that's for sure. So now let's go back to the app because I want to just highlight a few things with the app. So here we have a report. So here's our Honda Civic, and you can see it's not ready for emission test. Our oil life prior to reset was 59.6. And you can see there's just a bunch of stuff on here. Most of it's available on the scanner. Now, here's the interesting thing I did find here. It actually can predict repairs for your vehicle based on the mileage and tell you an approximation. But personally, I wouldn't put a lot of weight in that because you know what, prices are going to vary a lot. But to me, what was really important here was the technical service bulletins and the safety recalls. Now, the safety recalls most likely are going to get done. The manufacturer sends you a letter and you're going to get it done. But the technical service bulletins are kind of guarded by the dealers, and those aren't always done unless someone actually brings their car in and complains. So to me, that's what's important because this information is not easy to get. Here's an example of one of the technical service bulletins available, and it even tells you how to do the repair and what type of materials to use. Now, listen to this. Gotta love it. This is a 1988 Fiero with the engine in the back, and if you're wondering what's in the front, that's how it looks in the front. Why do I have it in the video? It's because it's an OBD1 system, so there's our adapters. And now we are going to pull out the General Motors adapter for OBD1, and it's this red one right here. Now keep in mind, it will not read live data for this vehicle, but it's supposed to read codes. So let's see what it comes up with. Anyway, there it's all plugged in, and you know, gotta love the retro interior right here. So let's just go through the scanner right here. I'll speed things up. It is a 1988, and it's gonna ask us the 8th digit of the VIN, and that's going to tell us the engine. So it is not a 5-liter engine, so it's not a V8, it is just other. So let's click other and see what type of information we come up with. We'll turn on the ignition here, and we do have some codes. And if you see number 25, they're definitely not codes like for OBD2, which always has a letter for powertrain or a B for body. Now keep in mind when you're diagnosing OBD1, it's a little more tricky. I would disregard this code because this code is for a 3.8 liter VIN 1. And this vehicle is a 2.8 liter VIN 9, so different VIN. So when diagnosing OBD1, you do have to put on a little bit of a detective hat. Now, what did I think about this scanner? I think it is great for the do-it-yourselfer. It doesn't cost a lot. It's not a super expensive scanner, and it can do OBD1. So if you have an older car, it can definitely help you out. That is it for the video. Any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them below. GarageKing over and out.